All right, everyone. The trade deadline's over. Jacob deGrom is back. We've got the Braves coming up for a 5-game set at Citi Field. A huge chance to bury them deep in the sand and suffocate them and destroy them because we hate the Braves. No one likes them. But other than that, welcome to Mets Weekly, presented by Empire Sports Media.
On 3-2, Vader swings and misses, strike three. He struck him out. 5 big pitchers combined for the second no-hitter in New York Mets history.
All right. Opening statements. Andrew, you know the drill. Go ahead.
Yeah. Again, big series tonight. Frustrating deadline. Yeah, pretty much it. I don't have any hair anymore, so this team look like I lost all my hair because of this shitty trade deadline. So on that note, yeah, we'll see. Big series against the Braves. See if we can drop a bomb on them. That would be nice, just to drop a bomb because they like to drop bombs. How about we drop our bomb of our own?
All right, Frank, anything you'd like to say?
Yes, what I would like to say is hopefully Michael Givens stops doing what he did yesterday, or else there will be many rage and rant videos. So clean it up. Don't do it again, or we're going to have big-time problems. So other than that, let's go Mets.
I personally think you like that because you like to scream and yell. I think this has been one of the most stressful and most frustrating seasons because the Mets are in first place and they're winning. And I think that pisses you off, personally.
From a content-making standpoint, yes. But as a fan, I'm like, all right. But as we always say, let's see what you do come September, October, and all that stuff. So we still got a ways to go. But today's the big one. You know, like Andrew said, if you have a good series here, it will really set you up in a nice spot. So, I mean, this could make or break the season right here. And this is what it's all about. We talked about it for a while, this 5-game set with Atlanta. Well, it's here, so let's do it.
Carlos Carrasco on the mound today.
On National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day or just Cookie Day?
On National, Andrew, I can't believe that lines up. That is crazy.
I think it's Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
Yes, Andrew.
Andrew, hold up.
He didn't see the slap.
Everybody knows I'm not
numb to it. That's great.
Hold up the I love food.
Yeah, food. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why I asked him.
We know.
That's why. Okay, good.
Every food day marked down on his calendar, right on his desk.
Dude, all cinnamon bun days in 2 weeks. I can't wait.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Great. Have a calendar of all the food.
All right. Taijuan Walker tomorrow, doubleheader on Saturday. So that's probably going to be Scherzer is one of them, and probably the other. Peterson, and then deGrom for the finale. So I'd say that, the first 2 games are probably your most, are you going to get the best? Are you going to get the worst of these 2 guys? But Taijuan Walker has been good so far in his first 2 starts in the second half. This has been my big key for him. And so far he's looked fantastic, somewhat. Still making me nervous, but other than that, whatever. Carlos Carrasco, I'd say the only key for this guy is just keep the command of the breaking stuff, and you should be good. Make them chase, make them get themselves out. Don't force anything, and that's about it. But other than that, I wanted to go into Jacob deGrom. He is finally back. He is finally healthy. He is still healthy. Right after the game, my biggest concern, I knew he was going to be fine. He was going to pitch great. Mets lost, did their usual offense shit with him, but what else is new? But all I can say is Jacob deGrom, my biggest question was, how does he feel the day after? Looks to be fine. Was throwing the next day in the outfield or whatever, doing long toss, and he looks fine. So 59 pitches in the start that he had. Made sense that he was going to be on a limited pitch count, obviously. Frank, I'll go to you. Takeaways from Jacob deGrom's return.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things was that he threw a first pitch curveball, and that's something that Max Scherzer has preached to all the pitchers. And we know that Jacob deGrom usually last year was mostly fastball slider. So I wonder if he is going to implement that curveball a little more frequently And how is that going to impact his health? I mean, will throwing the occasional curveball help out his arm a little bit from not throwing the 100-mile-an-hour fastball and the 94-mile-an-hour slider? So I'm curious to see how that's going to affect his health. But like you said, it was good to see him out there again. I think it was more of an innings limit than a pitch limit. I feel like if it was 65 pitches in 5 innings, like that still would have been the end. It was just 5 innings, I think, was their goal. I'm guessing maybe 6 against Atlanta and just kind of go from there. But we saw the 100. The slider looked absolutely wicked. That's what I loved. I mean, that was the out pitch. It was Edwin Diaz, like the way that slider was just the bottom was dropping out, low and away to right-handed hitters. It really was nice to see. But unfortunately, like you said, I mean, no decision Jake. That's what I call him because he does his thing and he just gets another no decision. So it's frustrating. And then especially when the very next day you score 9 runs. And it's like, I mean, what are we doing here? Why couldn't we do that for Jake? So frustrated that they didn't win the game, but it was very nice to see him back. And hopefully they win some of his starts. I mean, that's really what I want to see. They've done him such a disservice his whole career. He should have the Mets in general should have a way better team record when he pitches than what they have. So we'll see how that ends up going for the rest of the year.
Them not hitting with Jacob deGrom so numbing to me. All I really cared about was just seeing him out there, seeing him healthy. That was pretty much it. They lost the game. What else is new? Like that's just literally what happens when Jacob deGrom takes the mound. They just don't hit for him. It is going to be frustrating if they continue to do that. But hey, Max Scherzer's return. If you want to play some narrative ball, they didn't hit for him as well. So there's some narrative ball for you. Andrew, you were the one who caused his injury in the first place. So, what else do you want to curse now? Go ahead.
And this is the perfect reason why he's leaving us in the offseason. We don't win. We don't score any runs for it. That's why he's going to go to Philadelphia and go win. His ERA is going to get inflated as hell too, but he'll get run support from my boy Bryce. And, maybe Bryson's not ever developing. But yeah, he looked good. Again, it's Jacob deGrom. Again, could have had through 102, which again was like, can we please not do that? He only did it once, so it wasn't like consistently throwing 102. He threw 1, which should have been a strike, but of course the umpire on the black. Nah, I'm not going to call it Jacob deGrom. It should have been 3 pitches, 3 strikes, but whatever. Again, yeah, the offense doesn't show up. What's new for that? But again, he looked good. The up downs, 4 up downs, or 4 or 5 up downs. I think 5 up downs, 5 innings. But we'll see again. And now he gets Spencer Strider. Maybe nice little fireballing matchup on Sunday. We'll see how he does. Maybe if the Mets could go for a sweep, it'd be great. But obviously, again, we'll see. That was, again, the Nationals is kind of like another rehab start where this is now, okay, you got another minor league team. Now you're going up pennant race time against a team that's on our ass. Have fun. What does he do then? I think that's the bigger test, in my opinion. And yeah, it's the Nationals. Cool. See him on a big league mound. Him carving up 12-year-olds. Cool. Now I want to see what you do against the team that's on our ass. So good start. Good to see him on the mound. Again, no hiccups yet. Jacob deGrom, you never, wait until we got to see him on the mound again. 5 days, and we'll see if he's on the mound. But again, we'll see what he does against Atlanta on Sunday.
Something that was really, it's very out of pocket when you listen to Keith Hernandez sometimes. Sometimes he's saying stuff that's accurate. Sometimes it's not. He's a boomer. That's just how he is. But he was talking about how Jake was not overthrowing, looked very relaxed, and that was very true. He definitely looked like that. He looked like a guy who was able to have these types of mechanics where he can possibly stay healthy. And of course, we're knocking on wood with that. But and it was just great to see him. As much as the success we've had this year, the Mets are not the same without Jake on the mound every 5 days. And that was something that really needed to happen. He was the most injured guy last year, even though we had tons of injuries last year. I hope this is not the last few times we see him as a Met, but I don't worry about that right now. Go out there. Let's try to win the World Series. And that's it. Anything else on Jake? Because this has just been a long time coming. 391 days worth of long time coming for him to make his long-awaited return. Let's hope Jake doesn't sign with Atlanta. I don't think it's. I think.
Oh no. He's gonna sign He's gonna sign with the Angels. That's where he's gonna go. Artie Moreno. Gotta love spending money. So
why would he?
It'll be on like a 10-year deal. $436 million to the Angels.
Just give him a Pujols contract.
Give him a Pujols contract.
No. All right. Happy birthday to Urzra or Merlin. I forget. What do we?
This guy's got like
confirm?
9 different names.
He's got
just
9
super
different
Merlin.
names. Okay. So do I. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to that a little
Okay,
later.
we'll get to this for a
Yeah, we'll get to
second
that
because
later.
we have some trade deadline grades. We're gonna wait for our fourth member, see if he's here, and then we'll keep going. But after Billy's comments today, is a legitimate chance of bringing up Alvarez towards the end of the season. In context, I think it is, but I've also seen that they've talked about him not being a 100% priority and not being the number one guy they're keeping their eye on. But I don't know. You never say never. If he keeps dominating the AAA pitching like he has been doing for the past 10, 12 games, I don't think you see him anytime around the corner like next week. But if here's your big test.
Can I throw out a
the
curse?
$40 million guy.
Can I throw a curse out there since everything I say comes to happen? September 1st, Alvarez makes his debut.
All right, he just tore his ACL. Thanks for that. Okay. Alvarez is like Soto. I mean, let's not
Stop.
Get it. All right, calm down. No. So we're gonna trade him to another market. Okay, great.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So he walks not as much as Soto does. I don't think anybody walks as much as Soto does.
Yeah.
I do actually want to talk about Chris Bassett for a second before we get to.
No,
what? What's wrong with Chris Bassett?
No, I was going to talk about Alvarez. I was going to say, I think he's going to force their hand. Like right now, they're looking at it, they're like, oh, you know what? He still needs to get his games in. But I think there's going to get a point where if Alvarez continues on the trajectory he's going, he got off that slow start when he first got called up to AAA. Then he started drawing those walks. So now they started throwing a pitch to hit. He's hitting those big time bombs. I mean, no doubters, no wall scrapers.
What are they called?
What?
What are they called? The things that he hit?
They're fat nukes. I mean, let's call it. They're fat nukes. But and when you see the struggling from the catchers we have, I think it's going to get to the point where he forces their hand and like, you know what? We didn't want to do it this year, but I mean, this kid has given us no other choice. We got to do it. And he's trying to. Like we heard him say it in spring training. His goal was to make the major leagues this year, and he's been progressing. Like I don't think he was supposed to be in AAA this year. I just don't think that was what they planned for him. I didn't think he was going to be in AAA until next year, but I just think he's played so well. He's forced their hand that I think he's going to be here. That's my feeling. I just think that especially if the team continues to play well, like if you have a legitimate chance and you're like, this is the missing piece, he's getting called up. And that's just how I feel.
Yeah, I had a strong feeling because he started off AAA struggling a little bit. But then you saw the injuries to the catcher position, Tomas Nido getting banged up, and James McCann getting hurt. So I think that like I had a small feeling that they saw him struggle a little bit, and then they're going to be like, okay, send him back down to AA, and then we'll revisit this in a few weeks. But then as soon as these injuries come, you're like, okay, maybe they're just going to keep him there. And then he just starts destroying the baseball again. You're like, okay, well, that topic's off the table. So I'm excited. I cannot wait for this kid. You have no idea how much like I am anticipating that. Like this is like now that I guess since I've already seen deGrom come back, like this is deGrom return times 10. Like that's how much I'm waiting for this to happen. And the same goes for Beatty as well, because third base has been a torture spot as well.
You beat me in my joke. I was gonna say, yeah, you guys are getting excited for the second best prospect in our system. Like he's second best. He sucks defensively. Second,
dude.
But, yeah,
Alex Ramirez is 19.
And Alex Ramirez, I might take A-Ram over Alvarez. That guy.
He wasn't amazing when I saw him. I saw him live. Struck out 3 times. That wasn't fun to watch.
PCA when you got A-Ram. Holy jeez. That's a man. He's 19.
I don't know, man. The thing is that PCA is white. Okay, so let's go to Chris Bassett for a second. He's kind of been a real unsung hero recently. And I'm not going to lie, he's actually looked pretty good recently. And I know he will be. He's one that guarantees one thing, and that's quality. So yesterday, Chris Bassett, one of my favorite contact managers in the game. I think he's one of the best in the game. I would say that one of my small things that he talked about in spring training was the kind of overthrowing the velocity and stuff like that, kind of saving that velocity. And I really started with that rough patch that he was getting. I was really starting to see a little bit of that overthrowing a little bit, kind of forcing the zone a little bit, hanging a few pitches, kind of overdoing it. And then he kind of, mixed that up. McCann finally got hurt, so he could finally be successful. And I mean, recently, I am pretty sure, let me just make sure. Yeah, he's had what? 10 straight quality starts or something, like 10 of 11 quality starts or whatever. So, and that's what you want from your 3 starter or your 4 starter when it's fully healthy. So anything to add on Chris Bassett, because like, I really think he's really been one of these important pieces that not many people are talking about. We talked about how on the offensive side, Starling Marte, Frank, anything you want to add on Chris Bassett? Because like, I don't know. I just feel like he needs to be talked about, and he's not talked about enough.
I just like that he's always going deep into games. I mean, even the start against the Nationals where the Mets were up by plenty, he was still going 7 over 100 pitches. Yeah. So then that's something the whole rotation has done, but Bass in particular, it's like 6 innings, 7 innings, over 100 pitches with runners on. I mean, they've put him in a lot of spots, and he's come through. And I think, I don't really want to mention this, but Clayton Kershaw got hurt again today. And we spent so much time in the offseason talking about the number 3 starter. Who should it be? What should they target? Should they go after Kikuchi? Like we had all these different debates, but we said it should be somebody who could be durable and reliable because we had so many injury concerns. We saw deGrom get hurt. We had a fear Scherzer could get hurt because of his age. Walker somehow still hasn't got hurt yet. I still can't believe that because of his injury history. But Bassett has come in, and he had his little injury, but for the most part, he's been very healthy. So I really like that he's done that. He's been that stable force that they needed. That's exactly what we wanted from our number 3, and he's delivered that. So it's been a very nice fit.
Basically has taken the place of what Stroman was last year, not ego wise or personality wise, but just being the Iron Man. Never hurt. He's fine. He's always healthy. He's a workhorse. He's there to eat the innings. He's there to push through to at least 6 or 7. And I'm
sorry, he never got hurt. It was the COVID. That's why he missed the
COVID thing. Yeah.
COVID. Yeah. Okay. So he hasn't even got hurt. That was my mistake.
He was pissed that he
couldn't hit. He was like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell him next time." He's just like, "Okay."
He's just like, he has that same mentality of Max Scherzer where he just wants to throw and he wants to pitch and he wants to keep going. And, any season that's not 180 to 190 innings is a failure to him. Like that's what he sees as. What did the Mets? What happened now?
The Padres being down 6-0 to the Rockies with Joe Musgrove giving up 6 runs.
Yeah, it happened.
If only you had some prospects.
That's the free agent you wanted right after that extension, man. See, he got right after he gets paid. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
See? Lower back pain.
Walker looking like a bargain.
Tom Walker. Hey, I got not really that many bad things to say about the guy. Again, I promised him. I said if you give me quality in the second half, then I'm not going to say anything. And he's giving me quality in the second half, so I'm fine with it. Now, let's address the trade deadline. We were live for the last 3 hours of it. I wouldn't say it was disappointing. It was disappointing. Yeah, it was disappointing. So we'll start with the one that came first that wasn't on the trade deadline day, and we'll go around. We'll give grades for the trade deadline. And as much smoke comes out of our ears, so be it. That's pretty much it. We'll start with, I think, the biggest move, no pun intended, Daniel Vogelbach the righty killing Chunger himself. What grade do you give this, Andrew? Give me a grade.
Man, this is tough because as a fat connoisseur and seeing this absolute unit Chungus absolutely rake and have an on-base percentage looking like Juan Soto, AB's looking like Juan Soto, and now we finally saw a Chungus slam. Holderman sucks, and obviously giving up Colin sucks, and we'll get to Billy Epler's statement and the result of what happened. What happened now?
I thought you said Holderman just sucks as a pitcher. You're
Yeah,
like,
no, that's what it
losing
sounded
Holderman.
like.
I did.
Wait,
Wait,
what?
I said sucks for.
I mean, Holderman is going to suck with the
He's
Pirates.
going
They're going
to
to
suck
ruin
in
him,
Pittsburgh,
but yeah.
besides the point.
ahead.
Yeah, and especially we'll get to Billy Epler's statement and then his actual results of that statement. I'm still giving it an A. I'll give it an A because, again, I might be fat biased because, again, it just shows that fat people are elite. We get shamed, but we can do things better than you can, skinny people. But, again, the production you've gotten on base, now you finally got his first homer. I think you're going to get a couple more than that. Obviously, again.
Not going to say that.
Say it after the stream. But yeah, again, and now they're going the platoon route at DH. I'll have something to say about that after we talk about Ruff. But again, what he's given you, and as a fat person, as a Chungus, it's an A+.
All right, Frank.
Yeah, his performance and the actual trade itself, as far as what you gave up, are two different things. I'll say from a performance standpoint, he's been an A. But as far as the actual trade and the way the Mets went about replacing what they gave up, as of right now, it looks like a B+. Because one of the things that we didn't mention with the deGrom start is, yes, they didn't give any run support. But as soon as deGrom came out, you see the Nationals all of a sudden they start scoring. Negos is giving home runs. Yohan Lopez giving up home runs. It's like, man, if only we had Colin Holderman coming in after deGrom, maybe the game still stays 1-1. And you're like, okay, well, let's get Michael Givens. That'll be our one bullpen replacement that we make because of the robust relief market. So Vogelbach gives you that great grand slam yesterday. Very exciting. But then when Michael Givens comes in and gives up 5 runs, it's like, where is the net value? Because you got, like we knew at the time, you got better in one area, but you got worse in another. So it's all going to come down to how is that going to balance out? Is it I guess it's a bigger plus because Vogelbach is playing every day. So you're just getting more overall value. But I just think the way that's what frustrates. I guess the way they went about replacing Holderman is what puts a damper on the trade. Because as a player, he's done a great job as a Met so far. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Like you guys said, the on base percentage, and what we talked about so much was power protection for Pete. Give Pete protection. It was so nice to see a team intentionally walk Alonso, and the next guy just hits a grand slam. It's like, that's what you get for walking Pete. Like, if we can make that a thing where teams actually throw Pete Alonso more strikes because he sees the second fewest amount of strikes in all of baseball. So if we could get that trend to change a little bit, then we'll be in a really good spot. So as far as Vogelbach, he's been good. I still don't love what we gave up, especially the way, Billy Epler phrased it and how he went about it. It still leaves a sour spot, especially because that's the thing that bothered me too, was that let's say Michael Givens ends up doing decent this year. We don't count it. Let's say it happens. He's gone at the end of the year. And we know we talk so much about it, but all these relievers are going to be free agents. Colin Holderman is going to be a guy that's here next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. Vogelbach has years of control as well. But I think that when we look at one of the potential weaknesses next year, it's going to be how many bullpen arms we have. And Michael Givens does not solve that. So that's how I look at it. Because short term, yeah, maybe, but long term, I wonder how it plays out.
I'll jump in here because I think the main part I think they're hoping is if Tyler McGill becomes that elite reliever, that second guy. And I think he can be. And I think that maybe I think obviously deGrom's going to be back. We'll see what about the rest of the rotation they do. Nice. But maybe McGill, if he does perform well out of the bullpen, maybe he is the future setup man that maybe we thought Holder Dog would be. McGill becomes that. That's what I guess if I'm not going to give Billy Epler a little bit because later we'll get to it. I'm not going to give him the benefit, but I will say maybe seeing that as maybe McGill replacing Holderman and even replacing May and maybe going in front of Ottavino if he does perform well as that late inning reliever that we wanted. Maybe that is Tyler McGill, but the question is, when the hell is he going to get on the mound? But maybe that's where he maybe could give up a Holderman, because maybe they'll sign some pitching in the offseason for starters and can make McGill full-time a reliever, let him throw 100 and give that, that opening day. He's like, you saw 100 in that out of the bullpen every day or every 2 days. So I think that's maybe where he's looking at it, but I'm going to rip him later. So I'm going to at least give him the benefit of that.
Yeah, my only concern is that we expect, if Tom Walker doesn't do just absolutely horrible in the second half, he's probably going to opt out. So I wonder if that's where McGill would then get moved back into rotation to take Walker's spot. So I guess we'll see how it plays out if they're going to add starters. It's a next thing. It's a next year kind of thing, but we'll see how that experiment goes. He's, like you say, he's got to get healthy first. He's got to get in the bullpen first before we really grade that.
You said fat people can do anything, and that was my response. So that was my.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. That was my response that I couldn't put.
That chat
out
will
on
leak
YouTube
that if
without
Carson
getting
ever
fucked.
goes off.
Okay. So messages get deleted on here, so I'm home free. So I was gonna talk about this after, I had a whole tweet about the whole pitching staff and everything. That was gonna be a topic, but this is a point that I did not add, and it just came to a thought of mine. There's not many young relievers that hit the free agent market.
Nope.
Outside of Trevor May leaving, the ones that are not Mets. So the youngest actually is Miguel Castro, which is actually funny, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And one last thing on before we'll move on. Look at every contender's bullpens. It really isn't that young. The Dodgers, they've signed Hudson, Trident will come back, like Kimbrel. They don't really develop bullpen arms. You're going for your vets. Yes, it would be nice to develop a Hader, and like Seattle that developed a Diaz, 100%. But if you look at some of the best teams in baseball, look at the Braves, Kenley, now Razel Iglesias. They don't develop the arms. They go out and sign them. So I think if there's one position you're willing to give up young asset it's in the bullpen, preferring the starter, because you could sign those guys like we found in Adam Ottavino. We found in Aaron Loop last year. The Mets can find those guys, and good teams find guys. Maybe now with Cohen and the continuing the development staff that we have, that we've been able to find now Ottavino, right for cheap. Last year we got Loop. If they can continue to do that, you don't have to develop arms, but yet the Mets still have some arms coming. They're just a year or two away, which now the Mets could still go out and spend the money, because you have the benefit of Cohen to spend the relievers, to add guys, plus let those guys develop slowly. Or we can speed them up, but also develop at their own pace.
Wow. Juan Soto tripled 5 times in one game. That's insane. Okay. Daniel Vogelbach, as we shift right back to him, because we were it gets an A because he's literally just he's an Epler hitter, and he's also my type of hitter, a guy that hits fly balls, a guy that doesn't chase, a guy that gets on base. I love it. You can just see more of a deep lineup with him in the middle of the pack. And especially you can see a more deep lineup with guys who actually can hit the ball in the air. That's actually really crazy. Hitting the ball in the air is a really good thing, and it helps a lot. We'll get to Tyler Naquin. The second big move or whatever. Frank, I'll go to you. What do you got for Tyler Naquin?
I love it, actually, especially because I saw him get an infield single sometime in the National Series. I was like, wow, that's what Travis Jankowski does. I didn't really miss him that much. And then I think yesterday, Naquin just bangs a double off the wall. I was like, I don't remember last time Travis Jankowski hit the ball into the outfield. So just that alone, he, like we said, he's gotten some hard hit fly balls. He's hitting a lot of fly balls since you love him so much. But it just shows, again, he's making the start today. And it's I feel much more comfortable with Tyler Naquin making a start today than I did with Travis Jankowski from an offensive standpoint. So just that alone, as far as replacing that spot, having another lefty bat, I've liked what I've seen so far. And again, I think based on what the Mets gave up, it's been a really nice move. So I've loved what I've seen. I definitely give that maybe A-, because it just didn't cost much. He does so many little things. Like, he has pretty good speed. He has a strong arm in the outfield, hits fly balls, hits the ball hard. Like, well, I don't know what else you really could want based on what the Mets gave up. So I've been very happy with it. He plays, multiple outfield spots, left field and right field. So he's been a very welcome addition.
All I'm seeing is quality at bats from this guy. And that's what I like from the left side of the plate because, if you're willing to do the Naquin Canna platoon, Canna does the same thing. And that's the thing. He puts up those quality at bats. Andrew, what do you give Tyler Naquin?
I mean, yeah, like Frank said, a lot of good ABs. For first game, hits 3 balls at a warning track. You're like, okay, yeah, Travis Jankowski can't do that. Then he banged I got a lucky RBI triple for his first hit, and then he banged the double off the wall last night. Again, it's a B, and like I said, it's a quality fourth outfielder. Again, we have had Jankowski and Dom Smith be our fourth outfielder at times to actually have a major league fourth outfielder with some pop. I don't love that he's all one-dimensionally offensively. Where yes, you can platoon Canna, but again, we'll get to where rough and the rest of the DH situation. I am okay with it. I don't love that we're platooning. Again, moving for a whole roster, it's not the best idea, but yet the Dodgers do it, the Giants do it, the Rays do it, so they're trying to copy them. But as a player, I'll give him a B. Like I said, he could maybe hit a clutch homer down the stretch. Who knows? And he can, again, unlike Travis Jankowski, you can pinch hit this guy. And if you need a homer against the righty, he can do it. So unlike Travis Jankowski, who's hitting balls 12 feet, but, Mets Twitter's got to complain about a track star instead of actually getting baseball players.
Well, he doesn't have Travis Jankowski's hair, so that's a negative. But Tyler Naquin, I've loved this guy for a while. I've wanted him as my, outfield depth for a while. It's always been a name that's just along with him and Nick Senzel. And we got him. So I like it. You can just see how similar his approach is to Jesse Winker because they have such a similar batting stance. I would love to recruit Jesse Winker if Tyler Naquin wants to come in and recruit him. I'd love that. Saying yes to fly balls makes you a good player, in my opinion, okay? I like guys who actually can hit the ball in the air, right, and not kill ants. And that's the reason why he's here and Travis Jankowski's gone. But other than that, I love it. I love the versatility. As for tools, he is a little bit limited. You're right. Can only really hit right-handed guys, but I really think that he can probably do a lot better against lefties than people think he can. But I do see him just as a guy to go against a high leverage right-handed reliever. He's also great with runners in scoring position. We have not really seen that much of him, I don't think, with the Mets so far.
Not yet.
But if you need a guy to drive something in, we know Escobar ain't gonna do that. So Tyler Naquin gonna do that.
We'll talk about all we'll talk about all the chat.
We'll start that first. We'll go back to that.
We'll get back to you guys. We'll just finish this segment and then we'll do some questions.
We're just gonna ignore you guys for the rest of the stream, and then maybe we'll talk to you guys for the last 3 minutes. So, but yeah, other than that, I love Tyler Naquin. I think it's a huge addition. I think I think we talked about the fourth outfielder graveyard for a while. And we thought really it was kind of going to be somewhat solved with more controllable pieces like Khalil Lee and Nick Plummer. They really have just not played to that expectation, and they were sent down. Travis Jankowski was kind of one of those placeholders, and yeah, he's fast and he can catch a baseball, but what is he? He's not really. He's limiting a lot. I like a lot of these guys who can use multiple tools, and we got one. And I like it. I'm surprised that because he is a free agent? Oh, he's a free agent after this year.
He's a rental.
Okay, now I understand. I thought he was under control, but somebody else is under control. Daniel Vogelbach is. And Tyler Naquin's a free agent after this year. That was why I was wondering why did the Reds just give him up for so cheap? But he's a starting caliber player on an ordinary team, but on a contending team, he's a fourth outfielder, and I like it. I really like it.
Yeah, I think the only weird thing that's going to happen, I don't think there's going to be a platoon with Naquin and Canna. At least I don't think there
No,
should be.
not at all.
But the only thing is that if they were, Canna has the reverse splits with righties and lefties, so it's not as natural. I mean, at least this year he does. So it's not that natural of a platoon, but we'll see how they utilize it.
It makes the excuse for the 2 out of 3 days that Canna
normally gets.
It makes it make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. And maybe that was what they were going for, is a guy who can actually start and doesn't just look as a placeholder.
I think even when Marte got the day off, I think he played right field. So and that's what you want, because Marte has been so important. Just worry about his health, his age. So if you have him, he plays for Marte one day, give him a day off, play for Canna one day, because those are older guys. It definitely is a really nice fit in multiple ways.
That's one of those concepts I really like about the platoons that the Giants do, and the 6-man rotation that the Brewers do, and even when the Angels were doing a 6-man rotation to begin the season, keeps everybody healthy, and that's really what you're looking at. And we haven't really had any position players just go down with significant injuries, unless we're talking about Dom Smith. I mean, he's a big part of this team
so far.
Is he really count as a player, though? Let's be real. Does he actually count or exist?
Does Dom?
No.
So there we go.
I'm talking about important players who don't piss me off.
The hands and the head.
Relatively.
The hands and the head.
They've had a few nagging injuries, and we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and for a bomb to drop when we, a few minutes. Someone will be dead or in the road or whatever, but. Yeah, I like what they did with the bench. So I would have liked to add a bounce bat, but whatever. You take what you can get with it, and they like the team they're out there. At least we didn't get any excuses about the team chemistry. So other than that, we'll get to the big reliever acquisition of Michael Givens, who had a great ERA when he came in. And this was a very hopeful spot, and I like the ERA a lot. Not to mention, walks don't really matter, right? I mean, having your shitty control doesn't matter as long as you have swing and miss stuff, because every single batter in baseball swings at every pitch. So, Andrew, I'll give you Michael Givens. Are you going to overreact? Are you going to underreact? Are you going to throw something about this guy? Because it was a disaster yesterday. But overall, what do you like about this move? Or what do you hate?
He's a person. I think I've used that line a few times. He's a body. They needed an arm. This was not who any of us wanted. I think I watched the video, like maybe that's an option. I would have took Efros over him. Obviously, we all had Robertson higher. I had Michael Fulmer higher. I had Alex Colomé out of Colorado higher than this guy. Yes, he's got a good ERA, but he has a good slider. Buck knew him, and his best years were with Buck when they had O'Day, Britton, and him, 7, 8, 9. Again, I didn't want him when I saw the name. I'm like, this is really the robust reliever market. You're getting that guy. And I get David Robertson went for the 26th best prospect in the Philly system. And, there was reports from, John Harper, believe him or not. But I would have ponied up whatever to get Robertson. If I was talking to the Cubs already, and the fact the Phillies come in and sneak behind us and grab him, and we're walking away with Michael Givens, and the Detroit doesn't trade Chafin at all. And again, it's one game. I'm not going to completely overreact, even though it is a minor league team and he's getting absolutely slapped around. I'm not going to finish the line. I'll be nice. But you wanted more. And I get it. Oh, the prices were high. You are a championship contender. When you sign Max Scherzer and you have Jacob deGrom technically only for 1 year, you're in win now more than San Diego. San Diego has Tatis for 10 years or however long that contract is. Technically, they could have Machado only for 1 year because he could opt out after next year. And they're going bad shit crazy. And we're complaining about what a price for a left-handed reliever is, or a high leverage arm, and we're banking on Trevor May's pulled pork arm. And this was not a good deadline from Billy Epler. Bullpen-wise, you can say the bats are going to be great, and we'll see what Darren Ruff does against Max Fried, or potentially tonight against Tyler Matzik if he comes in and, let's say, Vogelbach's due up. You'll see what he does. But pitching-wise, if this is only you're getting and you're banking on pulled pork May, Tyler McGill, Joey Lucchesi, David Peterson, we saw he can't pitch out of the bullpen, at least in high leverage in the bullpen, maybe in a long man role, maybe, but you don't have a loogie. You're still going to have to go up against Harper when he comes back. You're still going to have to go up against Matt Olson in the Braves lineup. In September, which they don't this stretch, because obviously played the Braves 9 times, you're really going to go to Joely Rodriguez versus Matt Olson. You're going to go to Michael Givens because he's got good numbers this year against lefties against Matt Olson. I don't care what it would have costed. If it was Ziegler, I'm throwing off the table completely. But if it was Matt Allen for Chafin and Fulmer, I would have done that in a heartbeat. If it was Soto and Fulmer, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. You are in win now mode. You are in championship mode when you signed Max Scherzer. And the fact that you were you were Wilpon-esque when you needed to add 2 bullpen arms, and you're walking out with a bottom tier reliever in Michael Givens when the rest of the team's chasing you or adding Razel Iglesias. Yes, horrific contract, but is a very good reliever. Yes, they trade Will Smith, so they get rid of a bad contract, add one. And then the Phillies got and add David Robertson, and your bullpen piece is Michael Givens. That should be a sign to say, yes, we're better than them right now. We could say that record-wise, but the Braves are on our ass, and they got better. And the Phillies, we're not even counting this conversation. They're a wild card team if they're lucky. But the fact that everybody below us and above us got better in the bullpen and other things, and we're adding Michael Givens, that's, for me, is a big L from Billy Epler, and he deserves all the shit he's getting because you are in win now mode and you're going Wilpon-esque. Yes, could you add, if I'm him, I'm jumping on any waiver wire guy with high upside or has good peripherals, bad ERA. He better be jumping on anyone, especially if a lefty becomes available. Let's say he gets a bad contract, gets DFA'd. He better pounce like Zach Scott did with Brad Hand. You better jump if there is a lefty. But, again, just disappointing for bullpen acquisition.
Frank, that was a fun game yesterday. What do you got?
Well, of course, before the Mets acquired him, I believe it was 17 innings in a row scoreless streak from Michael Givens. So, of course, his very first outing as a New York Met, he gives up 5 runs. And it wasn't even so much that he gave up 5 runs. It was that they brought him in a 9-0 game in the 9th inning against an absolutely terrible lineup. He's getting lit up, and it got so bad that he couldn't even get out of it. The fact that Seth Lugo had to come into that game to clean up Michael Givens' mess is an absolute joke. I mean, I would have loved if they could have had Lugo fully rested for this Atlanta series. The fact they had to burn him for that, which is absolutely dumb. Lugo hasn't been good this year. Second half, he's looked better, but still, like, Michael Givens should be able to get out of that mess. You couldn't be worse than he was, honestly. I mean, like, and these weren't cheap home runs either. I mean, these were just like bam, bam, just like all over the place. It was really rough to watch. And like Andrew said, it's like, you talk about robust reliever market. You see David Robinson go to a division rival, set down the Braves 1-2-3 in his first outing. So, I mean, it was just really frustrating because we knew the guys that were out there, and this is what they got. And again, it's like you look at his age, is similar to a guy we're going to get to. But, I mean, the guy, was he 32 years old? He's a free agent at the end of the year. It's like, is this the guy we really wanted to go for? So it definitely was frustrating. He's got to clean up, though, because they're counting on him. Because this is the one guy they got. They need him to be better than this if they're actually going to go anywhere. Because what's our depth? Nagosic, Lopez? No, thank you, because we just saw what they did the night before. So it's like we don't really have any alternatives. He's got to figure it out. So very bad first outing. Don't do it again.
I immediately the second that the news came out about this guy getting traded, I asked, what is the obsession with guys that cannot throw strikes? Like, what is this obsession? And now I'm hearing, and I'm like, then I go to my next point, which was the confidence that Billy Epler put in Joely Rodriguez in this what was it, post game or what was it, press conference or whatever during the game, Great planning by the MLB, by the way. But like, if the guy can't get the ball over the plate, like how am I supposed to believe that this guy is actually going to be reliable? And that's just that set me off the wrong way. I've not really been as critical of Billy Epler, but this was one of my this was definitely a bottom 3, bottom 2 moment. And that was I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. The amount of confidence he put into him, he's your player, root for him, obviously. But like, you can't talk about how much you've seen with this guy where he's just had so many Miguel Castro moments where he can't throw a strike. So like, I don't know about that. I don't know really how to feel. Maybe he has more confidence in Joey Lucchesi coming back. Again, we'll talk about that with the health of our arms and whatever. I'll bring up that entire discussion. We've already talked about it a little bit, but this guy can manage contact pretty well if he's throwing strikes, but that went out the window yesterday. So listen, I'm not here to give him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because his first outing, jet lagged. Who knows? I'm not going to go completely nuts. I do think he's a good arm. Do I think he's great? No, but compared to what our division rivals did, it's disappointing to me. It is very disappointing. And then we get to Darren Ruff. Lefty killer. Look to complement Daniel Vogelbach. It's a good bat against lefties. Gave up more than you thought you would for him. Gave up J.D. Davis. Didn't want to give up Carson Seymour. That kind of sucked. Thomas Sapucki, whatever. And then who was the other guy that gave up? Somebody else.
Yeah. Was it David? Was someone a Z, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was David Swack or whatever.
Yeah,
I have no
clue.
clue.
Sorry, Nick Swack. And then
Nick Swack.
Yeah,
all right. Swack. Okay, so cool. Lots of Z's.
Correct.
Yes, he did used to play in Philly, and he was in San Francisco. J.D. Davis homered to the opposite field off of Clayton Kershaw today against an off-speed pitch, something that he can really hit. Than everything else he can. So, Darren Ruff, quite the package they gave up. So, what do you got?
I mean, it's hard to fully vibe the trade yet because he's yet to make a plate appearance as a New York Met. But I will say, on the surface, I would prefer Trey Mancini. I know Mancini has good numbers against lefties this year, but he was 899 OPS last year, and his first game with the Astros, again, like we said, talk about what the contenders do. The Astros, who in my opinion are the best team in baseball, they go get Trey Mancini. They're not concerned about his righty-lefty splits. They don't care because they say, you know what, this guy can actually help a ball club. So, and he has, the team option of next year. Darren Ruff, he could be here through 2024 because he has a club option for 2024. But again, the guy's 36 years old. So do we want him here when he's 38, 39? I doubt it. I mean, so we'll see. Like I say, we'll see what you do in a Mets uniform, like we say with all these guys, because you could have good numbers against lefties, but then you come to the Mets and all of a sudden, you can't hit a lefty. Because Escobar was good, runs the scoring position as Diamondback comes to the Mets. Oh, it does not hit with runs the scoring position anymore. Then, like Brancher, we see it a million times. One guy goes here, one guy leaves, and all of a sudden they become amazing, or then they suck. So we don't know which one of those he's going to be quite yet. So it's hard for me to evaluate, but I didn't like Carson Seymour. J.D. Davis, I was okay with because he was taking his roster spot regardless. It's things ended that way with J.D. Davis, but the Carson Seymour was the guy he had some potential. I didn't think we'd have to give him up to get Darren Ruff. And the thing that also that goes into is that there are so few lefties now that you're rarely going to see Darren Ruff. It feels like. I mean, because and the Mets have such a left-handed heavy bat, such a left-handed heavy lineup. It's who's he going to pitch it for? And then you're going to have to make, like we say, make 2 moves, because are you going to pinch hit him for Jeff McNeil and then have Darren Ruff play second base? No. So it's like, oh, we have to bring Guillorme into the game. So is he going to be one of those guys that you have to burn 2 position players per every time you use them? That's the thing that I wonder about, because it's like right now, if the Mets are doing all these platoons, think of the Braves. They have this 5 games. They have 1 lefty. The Nationals, they had 1 lefty. So it's like, are you going to see him maybe twice a week? You just have to wonder, like, is that value worth it based on how much you're going to see him? So, again, remains to be seen, but on the surface, he's not who I had in mind. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't my first choice.
Andrew, Darren Ruff, he's somewhat of a tub. He's not Daniel Vogelbach level, but
No.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and this is where, as much as I love Daniel Vogelbach and I love him, there's no positional versatility from either of these guys. And either 2 roster spots now you're putting to your DH who play first base, maybe. And why I was, and I laughed that Billy Epler said he wouldn't want to splurge for relievers, but yet gave up a shit ton for Darren Ruff. Make that make sense to me. A guy that did you need a lefty killer off your bench? Yeah, you needed that because, again, like you said, J.D. Davis couldn't hit water, couldn't hit a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. It hit him in the face. But yet you go out and add Vogelbach, you add Darren Ruff. One of them are going to sit on your bench, and you have to have your catchers. There's 2 of your bench spots. Luis Guillorme isn't going anywhere because you're either platooning him or Eduardo Escobar, and then you have either Canna and Naquin be at the last spot. You still really don't have any other versatility. And why I just wanted them to go out and get a DH. If it was Mancini, if it was, Josh Bell, if he was ever available, which we know he wasn't, or JD Martinez. Just get one guy to play DH and use that other roster spot for a Kike Hernandez type, utility guy. But no, you have to now have 2 tubs fill your spot. Plus, you have Pete Alonso. So you're pretty tubby to begin with. Then you had James McCann's tub. Then you had Tomas Nido. You got 5 guys there that play 2 positions. Between the 2 of them, there's 2 positions. You have first baseman and you have catchers. Those are 5 of your roster spots. Out of your, 13 position players, and 5 guys only play 2 positions. There's no versatility. It's not like, again, if you would have got Mancini. He at least gives you the ability. You could play the outfield. He could play first base and also BDH. But then you're like, oh, why do you get Tyler Naquin? Maybe you don't get Tyler Naquin. Maybe you get a utility infield. Jose Iglesias, just throw a name out there. The Rockies wouldn't have traded him, but just that type of player where you can get an extra infielder pair with Guillorme. You've got 2 pretty utility type infielders. Now you really don't have. If Guillorme were to go down, who the hell is your backup infielder? Kramer Robertson? Not Mark Vientos. He's a first baseman DH. Another one of these guys. Another reason, I get it. We know Mark Vientos sucks. We know it. But I'm rather saving the assets and spending that on pitching and just calling up Vientos to play that role than overpay for a 34-year-old
36.
and now not have the utility and have an extra spot to give, again, Carlos Cortez, at least, is in our system. He can play everywhere. But at least give that type of player where, okay, he could play some second, could play some short, play third in the outfield. You don't got that. And if Guillorme were to go down, you don't got that. You have Kramer Robertson or who the hell is in Syracuse? Who's playing short in Syracuse? Wyatt Young.
Riddle.
No, Wyatt Young's been playing second. Yeah, JT Riddle was in there a little bit.
JT Riddle. That's your backup Guillorme. So again, if he hits a big homer tonight versus Tyler Matzik or whatever 4 lefties, now it's 3 because they traded Will Smith, but whatever lefty they got out of the bullpen, let's say Minter or Matzik, whoever the hell the Braves pull out left-handed, and let's say it's Vogel's spot, they go to Minter, and he hits a big 3-run homer, and that's what his big thing is just hits big clutch homers, a la Brandon Drury last year. We'll take it. Well, maybe we like him because, again, Vogelbach, if he comes and produces and does his job, I don't think nobody really cares about J.D. Davis. Nobody cares. Carson Seymour, yeah, it's pitching. And, again, this screams Brody-esque. Throw some more relievers who, they're lottery tickets, yes. You put them in a team that can develop pitching, they can come back and bite you in the ass, which the Giants can. So, again, I would have preferred just to get one DH and say, you're the everyday DH, and then you can use it around with Pete and maybe give Canner or Marte a day off if you want to get his feet. I would have preferred them to do that. To doing the platoons, again, they did in 69, which I said, I trolled Frank. They're doing it like they did in 69. Lefty lineup, righty lineup, like the Dodgers and Giants, Rays do it. There's your left-handed lineup when there's a righty starter. There's your left-handed starting lineup when a lefty's on the mound. But I just think the roster is thin depth-wise, and it got thin, a little thinner in the pitching. So, again, everybody's got to stay healthy, and that's what Billy Epler's banking on, which really, besides Max and Jake, you've been pretty healthy. And the Mets are built on an ancient burial ground, and we're getting to that time. You're 1 week away from boom, 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 and there goes your depth. So I don't love it, but again, he does something. He has some clutch moments, kills lefties. I don't think we're complaining as much, but again, time is to tell. Like Frank said, he hasn't had an AB yet, so I don't love it, but he comes and hits. That can change.
Yeah, and he's played some left field this year and some right field, but he's a 36-year-old with no speed. Like, he's not going to play. Like, he can play it, but he's not going to play it particularly well. And how many times we've seen that in corner outfield? Whether it's, like we said, Tom Smith, J.D. Davis. I mean, even Brandon Drury played right field a little bit last year. So, like, he can play it, but not particularly well. Like, it's not something like where you're like, oh, well, late in the game, we'll just have, like we said, a pinch hit from Marcana, and we'll just have, this guy move out to left field. It's like, no, not really. So, again, we'll see. Time will tell, but again, we'll see how it goes. But on the surface, it was something I was like, oh my gosh, what a great move that was.
I think it's just the lack of what they did. Just kind of gives you a sour taste with all these moves. Some you like a little bit more than others. But the last topic that I want to bring up, obviously, is just the pitching outlook. And I made a tweet about this of basically everybody staying healthy. And this is what they're pretty much banking on happening. So deGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, Carrasco, and Walker. Out of the bullpen, you got Williams, Peterson, McGill, Lugo, Gibbons, Rodriguez, Ottavino, May, and Diaz. So this is what they're banking on. It's a great staff. It's a staff that can really lock down anyone. I would say that maybe Joely Rodriguez gets replaced by maybe Joey Lucchesi. I would like to see that, only because he can go multiple innings. But like overall, this is what the picture that they're looking at. But for all 14, 13 guys, all these guys to stay healthy, especially when you can't learn the lesson from what you got last year, it's very concerning to look at. I'm not going to lie. It's a fantastic staff. I would definitely bring this staff into the playoffs. Absolutely. They're all quality arms. But is this team going to stay healthy to do that? I can't trust that. I really can't, especially when you have guys coming back from long-term injuries. And that's a majority of these guys on the list. Jacob deGrom, who knows? Guy's throwing 102. Maybe he's sore the next day. Scherzer, age. Bassett, we know he's going to stay healthy. Carrasco, showing his age, and he's had injuries in the past. Taijuan Walker has had 2 Tommy John surgeries. Trevor Williams, I know, can definitely eat innings. David Peterson has had his nagging injuries. McGill's been hurt all year. Seth Lugo had elbow surgery. Michael Gibbons, who knows if he's even reliable. Joely Rodriguez can't throw a strike. Adam Ottavino, older age. Trevor May's been hurt all year. Like, you can't really rely on all of these guys to just 100% stay healthy, and that's the 100% truth. It's great fully healthy, but are we ever going to see that? That's the point. Frank?
And Drew Smith is even on here, and he's hurt too as well. So it's just like you said, it's like, will they all ever get healthy? We hope so, but like you said, there's just no guarantee. It definitely is a risk that they're playing, and like you also said, we saw what happened last year, and it was exactly on the trade deadline day too, when deGrom had his setback, and it's like we didn't get anything to replace him. We didn't think Trevor Williams got to be as important as he was when they acquired him at the time. So we know they're relying on a lot. We'll see if it works out. But again, just you see a lot of like the same weaknesses too. It's like when Givens has the walk problem and Rodriguez has the walk problem, and David Pearson has the walk problem. So it's like, how many of the same guys are you going to have the same issue? But
And
The
like
Givens-
I'm gonna
The
continue
Givens and
on the point.
J-Rod, I just feel like you're replacing Familia and Castro.
No, we're not saying no. Don't ever disrespect J-Rod. No, you don't call him
What?
J-Rod. No.
Oh, Joely Rodriguez.
Yeah,
I
no,
said
don't
Rodriguez.
ever
Didn't I
disrespect
say
J-Rod.
Rodriguez?
You said
I
J-Rod.
must have cut out for
He
you.
was thinking of
Oh, I
the
said
other
J-Rod.
one.
Oh, well, yeah, J-Rod. So J-Rod, you're basically see that was like 10 seconds that you did not have to waste. You understand that? Okay,
I'm
so
here.
Givens and Rodriguez, Joely. It feels like you're just replacing Miguel Castro and Jerry's Familia there.
Yeah.
Like you just see a lot of problems there, and that's the thing. But
I'll go back to the point I made earlier. Epler better be in August. If guys get DFA'd, if there's some kind of upside, guy who can throw strikes, jump on every arm you possibly can. If you can stash him in Syracuse, do that. The Mets need to be able to jump. Like I know we made the Dinelson Lamet getting DFA'd. If you can get a 2-week stretch where he's can fake his way through a good 2-week stretch, you're going to take those kind of guys. So again, like we said, Givens, we don't know what he can be. Trevor May had a decent return, but if he goes back to first 2 months, Trevor May, you're at another quality arm. So for me, especially with bullpens, if you can get a 2-week stretch out of somebody, you take it. If he sucks after that, you get DFA, you move him on. Bullpen arms, again, like we've said, are so finicky. If there's a guy with high upside, bad ERA, but good FIP, jump on him. There's a guy with good stuff grades and bad ERA, jump on him. If he's any lefties, you jump on him automatically. Relievers, again, run them through that, especially with Yohan Lopez and Tommy Hunter and No-Go Dog in the
Medina.
So you have 3 spots. You can just filter through different arms. And you have this whole month of August. You're going to have a doubleheader. You have 2 doubleheaders. I think you got one against the Phillies, I believe, as well. Okay, you got the one this weekend. You're going to need arms. So even if Dinelson Lamet's the big name, just got DFA. Pick him up. If you get him good for 2 weeks, he sucks in 2 weeks, DFA him, you move on to the next guy. Epler has to, because you didn't add to the deadline, you better be jumping on waiver claims.
Yeah. Like Joe Smith, for example, he got DFA'd, really high ground ball rate, really low walk rate, but a terrible ERA. So it's like, do you think and he's got a weird arm slot. Like, do you think you could make something happen? Again, if you sign him to a minor league deal, you see if you could work with him, figure it out. But like you said, they gotta be willing to be open and explore other possibilities. Just see if they could find that lightning in a bottle late in it. Like they did, like Addison Reed. They gave up nothing for him. He came out completely out of nowhere. They got him really late in the year, and he ended up being great. So they need to do something similar to that.
Yeah,
I just think
find
that
another Brad Hand. Brad Hand becomes. I'm saying that Brad Hand the guy.
No,
find that
but don't find Brad Hand. No,
good ERA though. 2 sub 2.
What I'm asking is that I feel like you took a bigger risk of these guys staying healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Than giving up prospects to get the guys that can be thing. And it's like they took a risk without taking this risk, taking the conventional risk. And that's what really, it's just really tough to just like hold your breath, because Mets and health just don't do well together. And that's something that I feel like Epler should have learned. Maybe he has something else brewing, but like, I don't know. As for Lamet, a guy like that, just him specifically, he seems like more of a project than a guy that can actually come in and give you some somewhat upside. I'm not big on this guy. Same thing goes for him with the injuries as well. So, but Joe Smith, I definitely take him back. What did they trade him for initially? What was he traded for?
Oh boy,
Probably no one good.
I remember making a joke about that on Twitter, but I cannot remember. I guess not. Okay. I will figure that out though, because I want to know. But yeah, I will definitely take Joe Smith. Maybe he can rewrite the history where we were trying to get with Jake Reed and actually throw strikes this time. So, cool. I would be on top of it. I definitely would be on top of it. And that's about it.
Guess we'll take a couple
Questions from the chat.
He was actually part of the JJ Putz trade.
JJ Putz. There we go. I knew it was an everyday legend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't he go like to Arizona and like pitch like a god or something? I mean, he had a good year in Arizona, I think.
Yeah, he eventually figured out a little bit of Arizona.
Freaking
Yeah, I think this is a really good test today and tomorrow. Like, is Walker or Carrasco going to be the 4 starter in the playoffs? So I think saying tomorrow will be a really good test for those guys.
You're gonna stay for the first inning? I doubt it. That's up to you guys.
I think it just was aware that you had it was aware that you had an older rotation that was prone to injury at the beginning of the year, and now you're adding the full-on pitching staff staying healthy as a key to success. It rubs me off about the wrong way. This is the first time I've actually full-on questioned Epler, and it stinks. But I will say that, if it all goes well, Epler masterclass, wearing the sunglasses from the green curtains, he's all good. But it's a lot to ask, especially with the history and the given history. Definitely sets up a lot more anxiety than you want it to. Anything else, and then we'll end it off here. We won't stay on for the first inning. Game reactions are kind of tough. They really are, especially with the second delay on StreamYard. So,
and then
maybe we'll do a post game. Maybe we'll do a post game if something's amazing against the Braves. But that'll probably be on Andrew's usual thing. And other than that, closing remarks, I'll give it to Frank first, and then to Andrew, and then to me, because those are the 3 people on the screen, if you guys didn't know. Just letting you know. Helping the slow people out.
Just
Can I say that?
Beat the Braves, please. We don't want this to be a stressful division race, 2 games, 1 game, going forward throughout the course of the rest of the regular season. So now is a great opportunity because the Mets have been playing very well this season, but so have the Braves. So a lot of it's been out of your control, but this is a great opportunity to gain that true ground on them and really just put them to the side.
My question is, division games at home, how have they been with that this year? Like, what's the record?
The Mets have been good against division in general.
Yeah,
so
they've been good in the division in general, but I'm trying to see, just basically defend the den. That's pretty much it. 5 games at I know. You know where I got that. Okay. But 5 games at your own home ballpark, which you know so well, against a team that's chasing you. Just know that you're in the driver's seat. So again, like we said in the video that we made last time we played the Braves, you can't outslug them, but you can outsmart them, and that's the key. One of many closers that sucked for the Mets. That's a whole other list. You can do an entire stream for that. JJ Putz is a legend, though. Don't forget it. But yeah, other than that, game is starting right now. Carlos Carrasco on the mound against the Braves, first of a 5-game series. Andrew, go ahead.
Oh, no, I thought you were just going to cut me off as always. But,
yeah, sure.
Next video is going to be grading every single team's trade deadline, and then I'm probably going to be missing for a while. I don't know what I'm going to do, obviously, post-deadline, but that'll get out hopefully in the next week. Obviously, post-games, we will do that. But besides that, again, beat the Braves, and don't suck. That's just a motto. Put on the whiteboard. Don't suck.
All right. But yeah, other than that, a video came out earlier today. I did a speed recap of the series. I'm going to try to do that for every single recap, and hopefully it doesn't counteract with Frank's recap every Sunday. So we'll figure that out. But it was just kind of a quick rapid fire type of thing, making stupid jokes with sarcasm. It was just a fun thing to edit. So let me know if you guys like that. But other than that, let's go Mets playing the Braves. Big series right here, 5-game set. And we'll see you guys next time. LFGM.